Hi, I'm Tim Stein, and in this video I want to talk about practicing leaps. Now, much of the music you play will involve some leap of some description. So, for example, in this little Brahms waltz, you've got a big bass jump in the left hand. So if I play the first few bars, you'll hear what I mean. So, if I play just the left hand, and I'll show you again those jumps. What often happens is that people make an almighty scramble to go from the bass note to the chord, so they end up doing this, which can actually sound very messy. So the most important thing to try to do is when your left hand is moving up, aim for the highest note, and when your left hand is going back down, aim for the lowest note. So in slow motion, I'll show you what I mean. So my highest note is the D, so I aim for the D, and then I go back down to the E, and then I go up again to the C sharp, and then I go back down again and I aim for the F, and then I go back up again and I aim for the D. Now, I will always suggest that when you're practicing leaps that you exaggerate those movements. So I like to create just a very simple semicircular movement. So again, if I show you. So it's a really smooth movement. And very, very slowly. And then when you're more confident and you can make those leaps, then obviously you can start to practice it a little faster. And so on. And another useful tip is that you don't always have to practice to the highest note and then go back to the lowest note. You can also use a note in the middle of the chord as a kind of anchor point. So let's say, I'm sure you have to know what your fingering is doing. That's crucial, because if you don't know what your fingering is doing and you're leaping all over the place, the chances are you're going to miss the notes. So again, in this example, I can aim for the second finger, and so on. Another useful exercise when you're practicing leaps is literally just to take a single finger and to practice jumping. So if you want to jump an octave, you can practice with your second finger just jumping octaves, just so that eventually you can get to judge those distances. So C to C, D to D, E to E, and so on. And if you want to jump even larger distances, you do exactly the same thing, and you can use different fingers. For example, third finger, D to very high D, E to very high D. The most important thing is always to look where you're going before you get there. And eventually, with some kind of peripheral vision, you should be able to get a sense of the geography of the keyboard and where you're traveling. Now, one useful exercise that I've found, that I've picked up over my many years of teaching, is to do something where you basically mirror the fifth finger, or the octave, sorry. So in this example, if you're jumping, say, from a thumb to a thumb, if I jump from a C to a G with my thumb, it's actually very useful to mirror an octave on that G. So you play the C, and as I play that G, my fifth finger makes that octave. I don't play that G at the top, I play the G below. So if I show you again, C, and that makes it much easier, so that you're not just thinking of going from the thumb to the thumb, but you've actually got more stability. If I do it on another note, for example, I play a D and I want to jump up to the A with my thumb, I mirror the octave A, so I go from the D to the octave A. I don't play the top A, I just play the A below where my thumb is. Now you can use a similar exercise in this example by Mozart, where you've got single bass notes. So, for example, this is the single line in the left hand. So all I was doing is I was just playing it as it's written, but a really useful exercise to create stability and accuracy is to mirror that octave. So here's my first bar, bass note E, and I mirror the E an octave above with my thumb. I don't play it because it's not written. So I'm actually stretching the octave rather than just a single bass note. Jump down to the low C, and my thumb sits on the C an octave above. So I play the bass note C, resting my thumb on the octave above. Bass note A with my thumb resting on the A an octave above, and so on. And that's a really useful exercise. So the most important thing when practicing leaps of any kind is always to practice them very slowly with exaggerated movements. And when you've got a better sense of the geography of the keyboard, you can then use what I call peripheral vision to make those leaps a lot easier, so that you're not looking at where you're going, but you're concentrating on the music, and hopefully your hands should feel a little more confident.